Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.1. Initializing upgrades. Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Ashes to ashes, we're falling down. Slaves to the men that stole the crown. There's a warning sign, like a blazing sun. You don't want to see because you're having fun. But those who control all the information celebrate and lie to the people to keep them watching.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. And before I get too far in, I want to let you know that the way I do this show, where I record live to tape, so it's recording and I don't go back and I don't edit things afterwards. And I found out yesterday that apparently my computer is doing this thing to where it's, skipping to where, I'll be recording, and for some reason it just stops recording for brief little snippets. And that's something that I did not know was happening because I don't go back and, listen to the entire thing. I look, and as long as the audio file looks right, then I'm like, all right, everything's good. So I think I might know what the problem is because I've got this computer and I probably need a new one because what I tend to do is buy computers that are a couple years old and use them for a couple of years and then buy another one that's a couple years old instead of buying brand new machines because, brand new machines are pretty expensive. But this thing, when there was some system update a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that Firefox has sort of been crashing a little bit and causing some freezing and some lagging, and I think that might be the problem. So I've switched over to a different browser to have my show notes up so that when I'm reading the articles, because I do all of this on one machine. If I had two machines, it would be a little bit easier to where I could, kind of monitor and be like, oh, there's a skip there. But because it's all on the one machine, I'm not able to look at the waveform while I'm reading the articles to you. But again, I have a different browser that hopefully will not cause the lagging and the skipping. With that said, this is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. It's available online at fppradio.com. I do this show thrice weekly. I do a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News. Plus, there's a almost weekly for the last 5 years, FPP Freedom Minute. I say almost weekly because there have been a couple of weeks that I've missed over the last 6 months, but other than that, it's been going for 5 years. And again, Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. This show, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary on December 2nd. And yes, December 2nd is on a Friday, which means there will be an anniversary episode that's actually on the anniversary of when the show began. So let's jump into, but before I jump into the stories that I want to get to, how about I share something that happened interesting in my life? So yesterday morning, I woke up, and I'm curious because I know that some people like the life stories, other people don't. So, hopefully it balances out to where you enjoy the life stories because I would not be sharing them if I didn't think they were interesting. So yesterday morning, I woke up and I had a Telegram message from a friend of mine. Telegram? No, when I say Telegram, I don't mean that, like some guy in a weird little brown hat knocked on my door. Telegram for Mr. Perry. That's not what I mean by Telegram. Telegram is a messaging app. So a friend of mine sends me a message on Telegram. And he says, hey, my girlfriend went to the gym that you guys go to, and she said there's a big sign that says they closed permanently as of yesterday. And I responded, WTF? ? And then when I finally got out of bed, I saw that she had sent me a message on Facebook that I can't see on my phone because I don't have Facebook Messenger. And the Facebook mobile app no longer allows you to read messages through the mobile app. Hashtag Facebook sucks. So I saw the message from her, and she said I went to the gym, and there was a big thing, and I didn't think to take a picture of it. Do you know what's going on? And, well, I then went to try to go to the Facebook page and the website for the gym. Both of those were down. So I don't know what happened. I hope everything is okay with the owner. I did find out later in the day yesterday that apparently there was some kind of sickness or something with one of her children who was in a hospital. I didn't find that out until well after. So, I hope everything is okay. But, like waking up, oh, so my gym's closed. All right. And today's one of my gym days. So then I looked online real quick. Oh, I can sign up for Planet Fitness online, and it's cheaper than what I'd been paying, and I can use any Planet Fitness anywhere in the country. So it worked out, and I'm actually saving money. So hooray for that. Like finding the silver lining, right? That's really what life is all about, finding those silver linings, right? Well, some people struggle with that. Some people have a harder time finding the silver linings, and, well, other people struggle in other ways, and people that are old souls have 10 struggles that normal people don't. Yes, all of that was a segue into the article from archetypes.com, 10 struggles of people with old souls. People who are old souls tend to perceive this quality when they are still young and tender. Yes, they had a unique and distinctive outlook on life compared to their peers. Most importantly, old souls have wisdom and more awareness beyond their years. They are matured and approach the world with an open mind. There's an internal old feeling when you are an old soul, and you can relate with these struggles. I will tell you what those struggles are, and possibly 5 ways that school does not actually prepare you for life. Stay tuned here to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. The liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
Hi, I'm Nick Hazelton from the Anarcho-Yakutalism podcast, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. What are some struggles of people with old souls? Do you have an old soul? How do you really know? And, I know some people are going to, send in hate mail. Hashtag souls aren't real, blah, 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 shut up, Darryl. But you know what the phrase means. It's people that are, wise beyond their years. It's the kids that would rather hang out with the adults than people their age. It's the people that are older that just seem, a lot wiser. Like I'm 38. I do not feel like I'm in my 30s. There are times when I feel like I'm, a lot older than I am. I don't know if that means I'm an old soul. I don't know exactly what it means. But, like this article I just find very interesting. So people with old souls have to hang around other people. Or at least that's the claim. And again, I don't necessarily agree with that. Because, somebody can have an old soul but still be an introvert. And we've talked a lot recently about introverts and extroverts and extroverted introverts and introverted extroverts. But they say that whether it's being in a relationship or a friendship, you're more comfortable with people who are older than you. So actually the tag that they have here is incorrect. It should say that they hang around with older people, not other people. Yes, you would have loved to be with people your own age. It's just that you don't really fit in with your peer group. You are termed uncool and boring. You don't see the world in conventional ways, so you're termed boring. And actually, I disagree here. I think that people with old souls are very interesting in different ways than what the quote-unquote cool people are into. So, no, I don't think it's boring. I think it's probably going to be more along the lines of eccentric. Old souls are seen as different from others because they have their standards of success, which should not be about career, materialism, and so forth. Thus, you are seen as strange and boring to some, and no one seems to understand you. That's number 3. You really want to be understood and appreciated, and this is something that I kind of relate to here, is the not being understood thing. And I think there are times when people just intentionally don't want to understand my position or what it is that I stand for or something that I'm promoting, because people would rather ridicule something that is different than understand why it's different. Does that make any sense? So getting back here, it says you really want to be understood and appreciated for the unique qualities you possess. However, no one seems to do this because they find you to be complex, and this could present a lonely feeling. Related to this, no one seems to speak your language. You have your own distinct definition of expressions and actions, and this I really relate to here because I've talked again, many times about the word friend and how the English language is kind of screwed up to where people will use the term friend to mean acquaintance or someone that they barely know. But, there should be another word to mean close friend that is, closer than an acquaintance, but not really an acquaintance. And again, this is where the Darryl speaks a different language sort of thing fits in. And also where the English language is horrible. Hashtag the English language is horrible. That's where that fits in. Because, again, in English, we have the word friend. It can mean your best friend in the world. Somebody that is closer to you than a brother or a sister. Someone that you would take a bullet for without having to think twice. But then there's also the person that you've met only on Facebook and you don't really like the person, but you don't unfriend them because, you kind of enjoy interacting occasionally, but you could, really care less, or you could not care less what happens to them, from day to day. But both of those in the English language are considered friends. And there really does need to be different words for those. I think the second person would definitely be an acquaintance, and there needs to be a term for something between acquaintance and that person you would take a bullet for without having to think twice. But I don't know what the word should be. I really don't. And I've not studied foreign languages enough. There's probably a word in German for it, because the Germans, they've got words for everything. And I've mentioned this before. There's the German word that literally means grief bacon. and I always forget the word. And then I look it up, and I'm like, yep, that's it. And then I forget it right away because it's very difficult to pronounce because it's German. Hashtag German words are difficult to pronounce. Getting back to the article here from Archetypes about people with old souls and their struggles, no one seems to speak your language, and this could mean that you have your own unique definitions of life experiences, which is not associated with every word that is uttered. What is love to you could be more than a simple display of affection. You are more in tune with loyalty and friendship. People find it difficult to understand your language because you do not express yourself in the ways that others want you to. People want to take advantage of your wisdom. And I don't mind this occasionally because I do tell people I will answer any question you have if you send it to me at ama@fppradio.com. That's AMA, as in Ask Me Anything, at fppradio.com. I do an Ask Me Anything every Wednesday. I answer your questions, and I've got some very interesting questions coming up next week. Some very interesting questions. So you do not want to miss that. But they say here that people want to use you as a dumping ground for their emotions because they find your wisdom and patience as a tool to get those things that they desire. People become emotionally charged in their discussions with you because of what they can get out of you. What are the other 5 struggles of people with old souls? Well, stay tuned, and I'll tell you. And if we get to it, 5 reasons that school does not prepare you for the real world. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.xyz, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.xyz today to find out more. Coinbase is a simple and secure online Bitcoin wallet for sending, receiving, and storing Bitcoin. Coinbase also allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin using a bank account or use their tools to accept Bitcoin as a merchant. Coinbase has more than 1 million consumer wallets and is trusted by over 25,000 merchants, including Overstock.com, Khan Academy, Reddit, and of course, FPP. Get started at coinbase.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. You know, I just realized I will not be able to get to the 5 reasons why school does not prepare you for the real world today, but I will mark it as mandatory for Monday. So Monday I will get to that 5 reasons why school does not prepare you for the real world after I finish telling you about the struggles of people with old souls. People with old souls, and again, that's people that seem to be wise beyond their years, the child that grows up fast. Now, when I say the child that grows up fast, I'm not talking about, somebody whose parents wound up, leaving them when they were a teenager and they had to, go hit the streets and make some really bad decisions and, lead a rough life. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the people that would rather, hang out with the adults. That a lot of times in school, they might have been called the teacher's pet because they somehow related to the teacher a little bit more than they did with the students. Those people, the people that, again, seem to be older than they are. They seem to have more experiences than someone their age should have. And again, these can all be good experiences. These don't have to be negative experiences. I worked for an airline for 4 years. And I traveled the country, and I would never have been able to travel as much as I did if I didn't work for an airline. There are a lot of people my age that have not traveled that much. There's people my age that have traveled a lot more than I have. But I don't think there's many people my age that were in my earning bracket that traveled as much as I did. Because, again, I worked for an airline. I got free flights. I would travel generally 3 out of every 4 weeks. I would stay home 1 week, wouldn't be a weekend per se. My off days were generally in the middle of the week. But generally once a month I would stay home on those off days to do laundry and catch up on errands that needed to be done. And, I'm 38 years old. I've been married. I've been divorced. I've, traveled the country. And I've done a bunch of things that people in their 30s have never done. I've done a bunch of things people in their 40s or 50s or, even people that are 60 have never done. I know people that have lived their entire life in the county where they were born. And that just seems very odd to me. So to those people, I probably am an old soul. But what are some of the struggles? Again, they generally hang around older people. Some people consider them to be uncool and boring. No one seems to understand them. Partly because they seem to speak a different language, because they have so much experience behind the words that they use. People want to take advantage of their wisdom. People with old souls feel responsible. You feel that such knowledge and wisdom you possess would be helpful not only to you, but also to others. You simply have no reason to be more matured, because acting all grown up comes with some sense of responsibility to those you care about. You feel this world is not your true home. You want to be where you belong, where you experience liberation and freedom with no doors barring your knowledge and wisdom. Since you find it hard to make others understand you, you are on a quest to understand why there is so much chaos and misery in the world. But they say this can be futile, since the more you seek, the more your soul wants to be somewhere else, a place where it is understood and a place where it truly belongs. You have multiple dimensions of seeing a matter. While this can be cool, since you have learned not to simply judge people by face value, you see so much possibility and explanations, yet it can be tough on you to make essential decisions and judgments, since you are always swamped with so many dimensions at looking at a matter. Now, let me boil this down to quote-unquote regular terms. You can see a problem or an issue and understand multiple perspectives of the same thing without necessarily agreeing with all of the positions that you can see from. Does that make sense? It's the thing where they always say, what's the old saying? Before you judge a man, walk a mile in his shoes. It's being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes while simultaneously, being in multiple people's shoes looking at the same problem or looking at the same issue or, hearing the facts and saying, well, I can understand how you would interpret this to be this way, and I can understand how you would interpret it to be this way, and you guys are basically talking past one another, and I might even be talking past you right now because I can understand where both of you are coming from and how what I'm saying might be condescending. So it's being able to hold all of those simultaneous positions without necessarily believing any of the positions. Again, does that make sense? Because it makes sense in my head, but then again, I am one of these people that I can look at something and see various, dimensions of it or various aspects and understand why people would think what it is that they're thinking. People that are old souls can be mentally exhausted sometimes. That's because they search for deeper meaning in the world and they have difficulty finding a soulmate. There's a little bit more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. The link to this article, as always, will be in the show notes. You can go read it for yourself without all of my interruptions. You can go read the 10 struggles of people with old souls. And as I said on Monday, I will cover this 5 reasons why school does not prepare you for the real world. To close out the show, I want to give an announcement, because generally I do updates and announcements at the beginning of the show. This is one of those announcements I forgot until about midway through the show. There's something changing with Liberty Lobby LLC. What is Liberty Lobby LLC, you might be asking? Well, I'm glad you asked, in my mind. Liberty Lobby LLC is the lobbyist firm that I created back in June to go lobby the New Hampshire legislature for more freedom. Less government, more freedom. And well, I had my first interaction at the State House as an official lobbyist, wearing my little orange pin that says Liberty Lobby LLC on it. It also has my name, Darryl W. Perry, and it's got the logo for Liberty Lobby LLC. Because lobbyists are people that take money to go speak to legislators and try to influence legislation. And, well, I started Liberty Lobby LLC back in June, again, to try to get some funding for stuff that I'd been doing for over 3 years on my own dime. Anyway, well, today, Friday, September 30th, the Liberty Lobby LLC Founders Committee was officially established. And you can join the Founders Committee. You've got until the end of October to join the Founders Committee. Now, how can you do that? You might be asking to yourself. Well, again, I'm glad you asked. Go to libertylobby.xyz and make either a one-time contribution of at least $50 or a recurring monthly contribution to where the yearly sum would be at least $50. Everybody that makes a donation of that amount, minimum, by the end of October will be added to the Founders Committee. Now, the monthly contributions will be annualized for the ranking purposes, and people will be listed in the Founders Committee based on their donations. So the more you donate, the higher you are in the Founders Committee. You got it? libertylobby.xyz. Become a contributor today if you like the idea of having a liberty-oriented lobbyist fighting for you. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.